On an unseasonably warm December afternoon, a 1977 AFC playoff game pitted the young Baltimore Colts against the defending Super Bowl champions, the Oakland Raiders.
You have to like the Raiders at that time over us. And probably they were a little bit better team than we were. They had more experience. They intimidated people. And we were young and probably on the upstart and thought that we can get out there and compete against them.
We had a great deal of respect for Baltimore because Burt Jones was a terrific quarterback when he was hot. He had a lot of weapons to work with. Going into the game, I think we anticipated a high-scoring game.
Stabler's prediction seemed destined to come true for Oakland. Clarence Davis lifted the fortunes of the Raiders with the game's first touchdown. But soon Lady Luck was smiling on both defenses. Despite the presence of two of football's premier quarterbacks, Stabler and Burt Jones, neither team was able to gain the upper hand through much of the first half. Bruce Laird, number 40, one of the Colts' defensive leaders, finally got the best of his opponent.
What we tried to do with Kenny Stabler is try and give him different looks and try and mix up our defenses a lot because he is a good veteran quarterback and very astute at reading defenses. I had weaseled behind one of the other guys in the zone. It looked like man-to-man. He tried to look downfield and didn't see anybody open. He tried to hit Van Egan in the flat. As soon as he released the ball, I just broke in front of Van Egan and picked off the pass. Once I got it, there was no one there. It was only Kenny and a couple of linemen, so it's just clear sailing right down the field.
Laird's touchdown gave the Colts a surprising halftime lead.
I used to say something at halftime. I had no idea what it meant, but I heard it someplace, and it sounded like a pretty good idea. The last thing I'd say was, don't worry about the horse being blind, just load the wagon. Then let's go. I have no idea what it meant, but some guys kind of got excited when I said it.
Stabler certainly got excited. He loaded up the wagon with a full arsenal for the second half. With weapons like Cliff Branch, number 21, and sure-handed Dave Casper, number 87, the Raiders finally went on the offensive. The Stabler to Casper connection contributed 2 touchdowns to this aerial assault. But Baltimore's Burt Jones, number 7, as Stabler had predicted he could, sparked the Colts to their own explosive barrage. The Colts matched Oakland's score for score, and the lead changed hands 6 times in the second half. The Colts regained the lead 31-28 with Ronnie Lee's second touchdown of the game.
We had them down the fourth quarter, and I can remember so well. We thought we had the game wrapped up, and we decided that we're going to just sit on the ball. We're going to try to run the clock off. I think that was the biggest mistake that we made. If we kept playing our game that we were playing, throwing the ball down the field for a first down, keeping them off balance, we would have won the game, but we were playing to hold a lead as opposed to playing to win. You know, you needed to keep putting pressure on the team and scoring points, and we just weren't doing that. You just can't sit on the ball against a great football team. That was a fatal mistake that we made strategy-wise.
As the clock wound down, Stabler took advantage of Baltimore mistakes by utilizing his flawless tight end.
Dave Casper is a prototype tight end, as far as I'm concerned, the best that ever played. And he was another one of those money players that always came up with things. We designed the play to get to David with a post-type pattern based on what they had done before with that down and distance. And it worked out, and it was not a very good throw.
All year long, we run that pattern. I'm just clearing out, but they had given a different type of coverage where I was getting a single coverage from a DB, and they said, hit the ghost to the post. So I get up line of scrimmage, and the first thing I do is whoever was that linebacker caught me right in the neck. I mean, I didn't even get off the line of scrimmage, so I set the whole play up by being a half-ass play at the time anyway. So I take off down the field, and this guy's covering me inside out, and I'm supposed to run a post. I cut across his face, and I was wide open, but the snake had to get rid of the ball because I was so late. And it's over here somewhere, so I played a lot of baseball. I just looked down, and it wasn't hard catching the ball because the darn thing came right straight down. But the hardest thing was when you took a look this way, saying, now where's that ball going to come down? Because you had to duck down and then pick your head up. And of course, you can't see anything on the top of that helmet until the ball starts coming down.
That play was, yeah, that made the game for us.
It put Oakland in position to hit the game-tying field goal. And well into overtime, the Raiders finally rediscovered their second-half form. This time, they sent the ghost all the way to the end zone. Dave Casper had put a scare in the Colts all day, and it was only fitting that his third touchdown gave Oakland the victory. The Raiders' overtime heroics put an end to the third longest game in NFL history. A game that will be remembered for heroes on both sides.
That was a great game. You know, the funny thing about that game, that Baltimore playoff game, is it didn't get talked about as one of the great. I mean, if it were a Super Bowl, that game had been a Super Bowl, it'd be the greatest football game ever played.